For the first CCR, I chose to do an all-encompassing director's cut that would go over the majority of the things talking about in the first creative, critical, reflective question. The rating is PG-13 for some violence, not heavy violence, but comedic violence. Our film company, AME, which is a play on my blogger, Ace Media Experience, would focus on genres such as action and comedy if it were to exist and produce this film. While a typical film uses an establishing shot to kind of get you acquainted as to what's going on, we used a whip tilt into a two shot to establish the two main antagonists of the opening sequence and to make the audience feel immersed as to what's going on. Along with the score of the film, which you've kind of already heard, it creates an enigma and establishes the genre as a kind of action film. There's a clearly established stereotype of an antagonist in which they wear darker clothing and they kind of just seem more threatening. The main protagonist plays into goofy, um, the more goofy stereotypes of the comedic genre. The way he dresses is normal. The way he walks is is funny. The way he'll later speak is also funny. Kind of just emulating how it just really resonates along with the story. The point of view shot used in this scene also kind of plays into the immersion that the audience will have when looking at this. So this scene is important because it establishes how the two characters are kind of working together and under one roof as like an organized crime, and how they're more serious than the antagonist, creating a stark difference. Again, there's this music in the background that's creating tension leading up to the main fight. This tension right here is the moment where it almost all goes down, and this is where the music is on the rise. This also shows the antagonist uh, going after the protagonist and depicts how the action is going to unfold. Stopping the music at that moment creates an encompassing humorous effect that kind of shows how the movie isn't really taken seriously, along with this shot in which he kind of just unnaturally rotates in a more so funny way. This also plays into his characteristics of being just an overall goofy, oblivious individual as to what's going on. As you can clearly see, one of the antagonists just laying on the ground, and he just skips over it in a point of view shot, just showing that he's more so just oblivious. The way that he speaks as well emulates this character that we've built around him. How he speaks goofy, acts goofy, just overall is goofy. The overly dramatic sound effects also kind of play into the more comedic aspect of the genre, and how this movie is really meant to be a light-hearted type of movie. Now, here you can kind of see some inspiration from other movies. Kind of, we kind of took from Home Alone in this scene, like where Harry and Marv mean to attack Kevin, and they just kind of end up punching each other and hitting each other with crowbars and whatnot. We intended to keep props to a minimal to really show how this is more of like a kung fu movie emulating those of Jackie Chan, and we use this one in particular to kind of go more into that comedic effect, explaining how or showing how it just doesn't work, and the antagonist is continuing to pursue him. The small cut in the music that stays silent is also playing into that effect. This is also showing of that effect reminiscent to almost Looney Tunes in a sense, where the shoes go flying up in the air, just to really sink in this comedic effect and how the movie plays into the mise en scène and how the props just flow with the movie. The ending music, as well as the ending frame of Kung Fu, a Fool's Game, kind of puts the movie into motion and kind of shows how the movie is going to unfold. The text is written in kind of an old style that you would see from a Jackie Chan movie, or maybe even an old Bruce Lee movie, where it's kind of just written and very upbeat, which ties into the music of how the music is lighthearted and also upbeat. Now, the prioritization of the two antagonists in the opening creates a tone of suspense as well as kind of mystery as to what's going on, which helps to reinforce the genre with the sound of how it's kind of an action movie as well, where you get that tension and that buildup. It stays strong towards its target audience by representing other comedy action movies like Home Alone and Shanghai Nights and all those other movies from the past that are kind of upbeat but still have that action and in a comedic way. The social representations, as kind of touched upon throughout the thing, are, the kind of dumb, goofy antagonists that you get with those old comedy movies and the way they dress, they walk, they act, while the antagonists are usually very serious, hardened, organized crime, that kind of thing. We didn't really try to focus on recent issues keep the just to keep the tone of the movie light, but we did kind of touch upon crime and how it's affecting other people.